Hey everybody, it's Lindy Tate from Taterbuggin. I'm showing you the process of reorganizing this filthy, messy studio. I had my sweet sister-in-law, Moityl, come help me. Couldn't have done it without her, and we managed to do this in 3 days. Yes, it took 3 days. So you're seeing some of the beginning. If you've looked on our page, I shared all of the before pictures. And listen, that was not easy, let me tell you, to share all of that. But she graciously came over and we hit it hard. And it spilled over here into the bedroom. As you can see, our bedroom is right off of the studio, so we just took everything out, everywhere. We had fun doing it, but we literally touched and moved everything in that studio. You can see my shelving being moved down here, clean up behind it, which we did over and over in every section. Had to have a sip of coffee there. And then steamed the floors. We moved the buffet in, which I absolutely love that buffet for the background. We literally picked that heavy thing up, loaded it into the back of Mr. Taterbuggin's truck, and brought it over here. Thankfully, our sweet neighbor and my son unloaded it for us, but we did a lot of heavy lifting over this process together. And you'll see a lot of me just asking for a task. I just needed a task. And here she hands me a bucket of rocks. Yes, a bucket of rocks from my cabinet. It's going out to the storage building now. And Moityl, bless her sweetheart, is still focusing on that cabinet. I got fussed at a few times for not throwing away nearly enough, but I did manage 3 garbage bags full, so that's good. And, just had to sit down on the floor for this one. You can fast forward if you don't want to see all the little bits and pieces here, but I sped it up as much as I could. And see, now I'm trying to explain that I'm throwing something away. We had 3 dogs that had to be a part of it, so that made it extra fun. Oh, where to put this canvas, right? Decision, I don't even know. There we go, right there. And if you haven't caught it already, we did a live on, let's see. Oh goodness, what the date? Thursday. I'm trying to remember what it was, but it is on our Facebook page, the entire reveal, and we discussed this whole process. You can find it on our YouTube channel as well. Look for the studio reveal video. But I thought some of you might like to see how messy it gets before you get to that wonderful ending. You've got to make a mess to really reorganize it correctly. That part I knew about. And I was determined to learn through this process, and I believe I did, because I don't have an organizational gene in my body. And my sister-in-law's brain works completely differently than mine does, but together we work really well. We ended up having a fun 3 days together. I'll admit some of it caused me a lot of anxiety, which then caused her anxiety from my anxiety. But we laughed it off and had a good time. And we kind of worked in a clockwise position around the room. We started in what you see as the left corner moved down that wall and had made it to this white cabinet. And we kept going around to those cubicles to the right, what used to be the little shipping department that we outgrew and had to go into another room, and then around to the work table. Oh, the stepping over everything, y'all. Oh, see? Tossing stuff. Proof. I threw stuff away. I really did. Let me go put this over here. Sometimes it was just moving things from one zone to another zone until they got organized into containers. We just put like objects or like items in different zones. It looks chaotic, but really there was a process. So there you can see where my paint system is in the new cabinets, which I absolutely love there. Still in a big mess right here. Oh, look. This is where I was really struggling. I'm going to admit I was struggling hard here. But she cheered me on. We kept going piece by piece. And I believe right here is where I told her I just really needed a task, because I could tell, that anxiety brain was kicking in. I had taken out all books, all notebooks, and I'm going to take pictures of the after and kind of explain the processes in the pictures as well if you don't want to make it through this whole video. But again, you can fast forward to the parts that you do want to see. This is where I asked her for a task. I remember this part. And she told me to grab that container. It was a big, narrow container. And sort the ribbon. When you tell me to do something like that, I'm good. I can do it. Let's see if that's what she was telling me here. It's good to work with somebody who really knows you well, because, it could be vulnerable and say, okay, I'm floundering right here. Or she could tell me, okay, you're going to have to cope with this part and listen to what I'm saying. There you go. I'm agreeing. Yeah. There's that container for the ribbon. Now, let me go get all of the ribbon. The ribbon had been in a container, but it had outgrown that container. So there's that process. And it helps to have a great big human-sized dog in there with you in the process. Oh my goodness. And then another dog. He has a bed under the work table, so he just wanted to get to that and tuck away and be out of the chaos. I hope this process helps some of you if you're doing the New Year's reorganization thing. It just felt so good to get it done and start. Today being New Year's Day, I can start in my studio totally reorganized and clean and fresh. And you know what it'll look like by the end of this year. But I'm going to try to do better. I really am. Being a so-called professional crafter and artist and having your creative brain override your lack of organization, it can get out of hand, I'll tell you, really fast. So see, I'm still trying to haul ribbon from one side to the other, and poor Moityl scratching her head like, what on earth have I gotten myself into? Here's another stack going into the bedroom. And Sarge is inside instead of outside because it was pouring rain this day. We had been out buying containers. We're wet and dirty and scruffy. But we're still having a great time. Oh, but yeah, Moityl, she's like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. We just had to take our seats and focus on one little task at a time. I didn't realize I had actually recorded for this long, and I have sped it up as much as I could, but go on and fast forward through this part. What is she thinking right now? I'd love to hear your comments on this video. Share your comments on your process, or if it looked anything like this process, or was totally opposite, but you still got to the same end result. That's fascinating to me. I know there are lots of ways to do this. Now, had I had to do it on my own, I would have to take it in one zone at a time. For instance, I would have to work on that white cabinet first, because I know that's all I can handle at one time. But if I can have somebody like Moityl who can come in and do it with me, that's a big suggestion I would have. If you've got anybody that you're comfortable with doing this process for your craft room or your bedroom or your closet, whatever it is, it makes it a lot more fun, and it's helpful to get an outside brain, truly, to kind of process it all with you from an outside view. If you don't have someone to help you, turn on some great music, turn on a fun movie, a podcast, an audiobook, and just absorb yourself or immerse yourself in the process, and it can be fun. Yeah, this segment of video is kind of during one of my hardest parts, and probably one of her hardest parts too. And it was so interesting to hear that what bothered her the most was what bothered me the least. For instance, she couldn't stand that the containers didn't all match. That never bothers me. I'm getting used to the fact that now everything is in a container, but once I familiarize myself with what is in each container, I'm going to love it. I am going to paint on the end of each container what's in that container so that I can lay eyes on it quickly. Even though it looked a mess on my shelving before we did all of this, I knew where to put hands on everything immediately. And I call it controlled chaos. It worked in my brain, but it wasn't a fun background for you all to have to see in every live video. But when I started this journey, when we moved into the studio, I was a full-time artist and hadn't started doing live videos regularly yet. So I didn't realize that I would need a different background. But we're starting the new year, we're starting 2022. It was time for you all to get a fresh, new background, and it makes me happy too. I hope it'll make you happy as well. It will be changed out with the seasons. Yeah, she's asking me what to do with that. And that goes right there. So again, move into different zones that we had set up. This goes on and on. Kudos to you if you're still here with me. Drop me a smiley face in the comments if you made it this far. Those shelves with the paint storage system in it and the paint brushes, all of my paint brushes that I use on a regular basis are right there on my table in a Lazy Susan, which you'll see. The ones that are special to me that I don't use as often or came from my sweet friend Colleen's mother, who was an artist, are in special jars and containers, and they're all on the top shelf of that cabinet now, and I just love it so much. On the buffet, you'll see Mr. Taterbuggin's ladder tray, the tiered tray that we have the winter decor on now. And the top is going to change a little bit before the final reveal, too. I am still over there in the bottom left corner on the floor sorting ribbon. What do you want to do with this, Lindy? I'm going to finish painting it for the spring. Now, where do we put it? She's trying to decide. We're tucking it over beside the white cabinets and the surfaces. That was cute. Now, be sure and catch the final reveal video.